Hi guys, so welcome to this episode of Research Proposal 101. I got a message, or actually a couple of messages from some of you guys asking me to explain how to go about a research proposal, I am happy to, obviously. In today's video, I'm going to be explaining what research proposal is all about, what is expected of you, and most of what I know is from the UK perspective, right? So if you're from other countries, there might be your universities might have like some differences, but it won't be so much. Do you understand? So it's best to clarify some things with your university, but I'm very sure of the UK standard. But so far, I think research proposal is the same everywhere. So if you really want to understand what a research proposal is all about, as you can see from the title, it is 101. So, like for beginners, like basic, like I'm going to speak in layman's language, not academic jargons. Okay. So, if that sounds like what you're looking for, then let's get right into it. And let's get right into it. And let me explain all there is to say about research proposals, right? So, what is a research proposal? Why are you conducting a research proposal? What do you intend to achieve with a research proposal? So here's what I want you to see. I want you to see a research proposal from a party planner's perspective. What do I mean by this? I mean, if you're going to have a party, you have to make plans ahead of that day, ahead of that party. So the party in this context is the main research. Now, the planning is the proposal. Do you understand? So the proposal is like your plan, what you intend to do. It's your roadmap. It's everything you want to do for you to, like everything you have to do in that research that you want to carry out. So this means that for research proposal, you haven't carried out your research yet, right? You are still telling us, all you're telling us in your research proposal is what you intend to do in your research, right? So it gives an overview of your research. It gives an overview of what you intend to do, how you intend to do it, right? So, and one of the reasons, another reason why you carry out a research proposal is to convince. Now, what do I mean by convincing? Like if you're a PhD student and maybe you write your proposal for your thesis or for your dissertation, then you would need to convince your supervisors to take you on. You need to convince them that okay, this is actually worth doing. And how would you be able to tell them that this is actually worth doing? It means that the research proposal has to be something that is specific. You're uh in search of something that is specific, not just specific, it is needed. What do I mean by needed? It shows that okay, there is a need for this thing, there is a gap, maybe there is a gap in literature that has not addressed this particular topic, then it shows that it is needed. And it has to be realistic, as in you have to be very realistic about what you want to do, meaning it has to be something that you'll be able to achieve within the time frame that you intend to achieve it. Do you understand? So that's mainly what a research proposal is. So, like I said, view it from a party planner's perspective. I mean, for a party planner, you have to be specific. It has to be, you can't just bring anything to a party. It has to be things that you need. And you have to be things that are realistic, that you be like, okay, we can achieve this, we can achieve this, we'll be able to do this within this time frame. And all the time frame has to be at least before the party, right? So, what if you don't take anything away from this slide? Take this. For a research proposal, all you're doing is you're telling us why you want to carry out a research and how you want to carry out that research. That's the main thing for a research proposal. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the steps and the things that needs to be done in a research proposal, what your research proposal must contain, right? So that's what we're going to talk about next. So, how do you go about writing a literature review? I mean, we've mentioned the why. You already know me. We have three parts. You have the why part, you have the how part, and you have the what part, right? So, why are we carrying out that literature review? We have discussed that, right? Now, how do you carry out that literature review? What are the things that you need to do? What are the things that you need to include in your literature review? So before I start that part, I hope you have liked and you have subscribed to this channel and you've liked this video. I always forget to mention it, but please do your girl a favor, like and subscribe so that other people can also benefit from this. And don't forget, if you know anyone who will benefit, send it to them and do them that favor, right? I know academic writing can be a bit daunting, and when it comes to the research slash thesis or dissertation part, it can be absolutely chaotic and insane. So if there is something that can give a bit of clarity, then it will be a nice gesture for you to send it to your colleagues as well. So please like and subscribe, don't forget. All right, so how do we carry out a research proposal? Now, before you get into the how proper, before you even start deciding on the title, before you start anything like that, you need to do your background work. See, I'm of the opinion that you can't research what you're not familiar with. I can't be in the field of dentistry now and tell you that, oh, I want to my thesis is going to be on something in engineering that I have no clue how it works. I have no clue of the keywords. I have no clue of the terms. I have no clue whatsoever. So all I'm saying is you need to do your background work. If you're picking a topic that is even within your subject area, you still have to be very familiar with that topic. That's why, when you see professors, yeah, and all these academic folks, all these academia folks, kind of, they have specific areas that they're focused on. It might be just one topic, and that's where they are the professor, and that means they know everything at the back of their hand. Like, wake them up from their sleep, they know it. So you need to be very familiar with your topic. It's best to say it now that, well, if you're writing for your masters, I mean, and you're really interested in that topic, it might be what would give you that leverage in your PhD, because it's a work that you can always continue. So make sure to do something that you're really familiar with, that you're interested in, that you're very curious about. I mean, there are so many reasons that you can choose a topic. I have a video on that, on how to choose your topic, and it doesn't have to be something complicated. Please don't choose something that no one has done before, or that you have limited papers on. I mean, those things you are at a disadvantage with issues like that. You're not trying to impress anybody. You need to get it right in academic writing. And I need to mention that, see, writing in the academic world, to me, I see like storytelling. It has to follow a pattern. I can't overemphasize that. It has to follow a pattern. There is a pattern to it. And if you miss that pattern, then you're going to get it muddled up and you're going to end up being confused. Okay? So now, the first part, after you've done the background work, the next thing is to decide on your title. So your title for me has to embody some things. That means it must contain a broad topic, like the main focus. Say, for example, an example of a broad topic can be diabetes. Diabetes is broad. It can be mental health conditions. That is massive. It can be obesity. That is, as in, those are like big issues. You understand? So it has to have a broad topic. Then beneath that broad topic, it has to have a niche, your focus. I mean, the whole essence of carrying out the research is you need that area, that specific area. You need a sort of specificity. So that niche, you need a niche within the broad topic. Don't worry, I'm going to give you an example. And you need a population, right? So all this must be in your title, and your title must be easy to understand. And for some universities, they have a limit to how long your title can be. So be sure to confirm with your university how long your title can be. I mean, I don't know, it varies per university. So just be sure to confirm, okay? Now, let me give you an example of a title and I'll break down that title for you to see the broad part of it, the broad topic part of it, the focus and the population. So here I have the title that I proposed, the effectiveness of dietary changes in the management of childhood obesity among black and minority ethnic, that's the BIM, black and minority ethnic groups, preschoolers in Canada, right? So what's my broad topic? Childhood obesity, right? What's the focus beneath that broad topic? It is the dietary change. I mean, the effect of dietary changes. So it's diet. And what is the population I am studying? The population is the BIM preschoolers in Canada. See, Canada is the population, preschooler is the population, black and minority ethnic groups, as in they're all like it's a very specific population. Do you get? So this now has coned it down. You already know what my title is all about. So this should give you an idea of how your title should look like. So I can't just say the effect of dietary changes in the management of childhood obesity. I mean, I could say that, but then that would mean that I am implying that I want to check the effectiveness of dietary changes in the management of childhood obesity in the world. That's what I am going to assume. And so that would make your work a lot more. Remember, specificity, very, very important. Okay, so now that the title is out of the way, the next thing would be your introduction chapter. Like, remember, you've done the background work, you've read extensively about this thing, you have your title, right? And I forgot to mention for the title, there might still it doesn't have to be definitive, okay? Don't dwell too much on it. I'm coming back to it again. Don't dwell too much on your title. You might just have a working title. It might change as time goes on. Remember, it's a proposal. It's not the final thing. It's a proposal, okay? It's you can always amend it. There's always room for change. You can always amend your title, but these are key things that should be present in the title. But don't spend too long trying to decide your title. So if you need a bit more clarification on the title, I have a video on the channel about how to choose your title, what the things to look out for and what not to do and what to do, right? So make sure to check it out if you're really struggling with your title. Now to the introduction chapter, like I said. You have read extensively about this thing. You know this topic like the back of your hand. You know a lot of things about it. Now it's time to write the introduction. And for this introduction, I grouped it into the what and the why. So now, what is it about the topic? You need to give us a broad view of this topic. I have another video on the channel that has detailed how to write your introduction chapter, like the things that you need to include, how to, and I put an example there. So if you need to see an example of what an introduction should look like, then there is an example on the channel. Yeah. So you can always check it out. So you have to give you have to give a broad overview of the topic, and in this case, we're talking about childhood obesity. So from that topic, if I'm to start it, I will start from the main issue, which is childhood obesity, right? Before I now cone it down to the issue, what is the issue with childhood obesity in the BAME? What is the issue with childhood obesity in the BAME ethnic group? And what has been proposed about dietary changes in relation to childhood obesity, right? So you write it like that. That's the broad part of the topic. The main reason is you want to show us how the research is justified. Like, what's the justification for your research? Why are you carrying out this research? How is it different from research that has been existing research? So, go back to the what again. Give us a broad overview. You tell us what childhood obesity is, why childhood obesity in BAME is significant. I mean, tell us about the deprivation and all that. Why in that particular set of people, and like what has been done so far, what is missing, what have you noticed that is the gap in literature. And I mean, you have to tell us what was your justification for carrying out this particular research. So justification can come in different forms, right? It might be because no research has been done in that particular country, or no research has been carried out in that particular population, which is the BAME preschoolers. It might be that they've carried it out in adolescents before, but they haven't carried it out in preschoolers. So you identified a gap, a new gap in literature. You have identified that gap that other studies have done this, but no study in particular has done this particular thing. I mean, that's the new gap. So if you identified a new gap in literature, if it has not been done in that country before, those are justifications that you can give at the end of your introduction, like the reason for you to be carrying out the research. Another reason could be because there is a there's a research, but it seems outdated. For example, if a research was carried out over decades ago and circumstances have changed, things have changed, several factors have been modified, then that means it is worth exploring whether the findings will still be the same. So that's a justification. And lastly, another one could be like there are studies on it, but those studies had issues with their methodology, and you have to tell us what those issues are, and that's why you're carrying out this research. So what this means is you can't imagine if someone has carried out this particular research, like maybe the person carried it out last year, and you also want to carry it out this year, and there is no justification, then what exactly are you doing? It's just like someone has done it already, so why are you doing what someone has done? So even if you're doing what someone has done, there has to be a reason for it. So it might be because of the methodological issues that I mentioned. Do you understand? So there has to be a justification for your research, and you have to include that in your introduction. At the end, actually, towards the end of your introduction, like I said, if you want to see how an introduction is done when it comes to introductions generally, just check out the channel. There is a detailed video with an example on it, so make sure to check it out. Now, the next thing after your introduction is to tell us your research aim and your research question. So you have to call up your research aim. What do you intend to achieve with this research that you want to carry out? And the research question is such that at the end, when you eventually carry out the research, it has to answer these questions, right? So that's the thing. Your research question and your research aim they are related. Let's call them cousins. They're like cousins. So the research question helps to answer the main thing you're trying to carry out. So now, from the topic that we're using as an example, our aim could be, or we could have two aims actually. Aims could be to explore, the aim of the study is to explore the different dietary changes that have been used in the management of childhood obesity among that population, which is the BAME preschoolers in Canada, right? And to assess the effectiveness of the dietary changes, those dietary changes that I referred to earlier, in reducing childhood obesity in that population. Right. So if you have aims, well, you can equally just have objectives. And what the objective will do is to like give a bit of scope to your work. Now, what the objective does is to tell us or to tell the reader how you intend to achieve the aim. So let me say, for example, now you want to assess the effectiveness of dietary changes in reducing childhood obesity. So your objective might be that your objective is the how do you intend to achieve that aim, right? So remember that your objective has to be SMART as well. It has to be specific, it has to be measurable, like the attributes of SMART. It has to be realistic slash reliable, and it has to be time bound. Well, that's for project management, but basically the objective has to be very specific to this aim. So if the aim is to assess the effectiveness of dietary changes in reducing childhood obesity. That means, how do you assess that effectiveness? It might be that you want to use measures like BMI, waist circumference, and all that, following a study that used dietary change. That might help you achieve your objective. And in the sense of it, since it's an effectiveness, remember that your study design matters. It's an effectiveness, and the ideal way to measure effectiveness is to use study style randomized control trials, right? So I'm just putting that on the side. So now you can have the objective. So that leads us to the research questions. The research questions, like I said earlier, is that thing that has to be answered by the time you're done with the entire research, right? So it's the cousin of your aim. And in this case now, we have the first aim to be to explore blah blah blah. And then the research question will be, what are the roles of dietary changes in the management of childhood obesity in that population? I just didn't write it for you. In the Black and minority ethnic group preschoolers in Canada, right? So if you look at that and to explore the different dietary changes, you can see that if you answer this question, you'll be achieving the first aim. Now to the second aim. The research question to that will be, how effective is dietary change in the reduction of childhood obesity among BAME preschoolers in Canada? So that would point out to the assessment of effectiveness, right? So that's the research question. So does this mean that for if you have one aim, you have one research question? No, you might have one aim and several research questions, because one aim can have different what's it called, different sections. So what do I mean by this? Say for example, still on this, to explore the different dietary changes. Aside, what are the rules of dietary changes? My other question may be what what are the factors influencing different dietary changes? That's me just going in deeper. Do you get? Even aside this, I can still add more research questions. So, but the best thing, yeah, so you don't do too much, is to try to be as specific as possible, so that you'll be able to handle the question and explain it effectively by the time you are done researching. So I like to keep it as concise as possible and make sure that my research question and my research aim goes side by side. That's me. Alright, so if you have your research aim and you have your research questions, what next? Then you have to do the almighty literature review. Yeah, I see you squeezing your nose already. I hope you have subscribed though. Yes, the next thing is to write a literature review. I have a live video, a recorded video, several videos on how to conduct a literature review, and there are still more that are coming, because there are still some areas of it I want to address. Well, these videos are so detailed that I think you have to watch them. I'm saying that first now, okay? Now, what's the essence of a literature review? I'll just go over it briefly. The whole essence of a literature review is to show, like I always say, how well read you are. It shows you have to synthesize existing research. What has been done so far? Like, I have this topic. You've already told us your justification, you've told us everything, but what has been done so far? Tell us everything that has been done in relation to your topic now. In relation to your topic, tell us everything that has been done. There is always a strategy to writing a literature review. I mentioned it in that video. Check it out. I'm not going to go into too much details here, and I also gave an example as well. So if you want to see what like a literature review look like, you can always check that out. So what has been done on that topic so far? Tell us everything that has been done, how it has been done, and because you have to tell us what has been done doesn't mean you have to be descriptive. There is going to be a lot of critical analysis in your literature review. You have to show us that you've read well, and your references have to be up to par, they have to be up to date, they have to be uh they have to be good references. I know I promised a video on how to reference adequately, how to use the right references. I would address that going forward later in another video. But your references for your literature review has to be up to date. And there are different ways to write a literature review. There are different patterns to writing a literature review. You might decide to take a chronological approach, a location approach. I've mentioned all that in some videos, so you can check them out. So you have to write that literature review to the extent where you have you would have done justice to everything that has been done. And another thing that I always try to do sometimes is, after all my literature review, I still try to give pointers to why I am carrying out the research again, and then create a form of hypothesis, a working hypothesis, so to say, because I mean it's a proposal. It's eligible for change. You can change. You are eligible to change some things in your proposal, at least till you have the right fit, right? So I have like a working hypothesis that I'm working with when after I put out my literature review, that this is everything that has been done regarding this topic. This is how far research has gone, and this is the gap that I have identified. This is how I intend to fill that gap. So that's basically what your literature review is all about. Like I said, I'm not going into details about it. Literature review is a big topic, and even I have not finished exploring it on the channels in the videos that I have provided. But I have detailed videos that will simplify it for you, that will show you examples. So please make sure to check it out. So once you're done with the literature review, the next thing is, now you have told us the why, the what, the why. This is uh how do you intend to carry out this research? I mean, you have told us what literature, you have told us your title, you have told us what research has done so far, you have told us about the gap, you have told us all that. Yes, okay. Now you have a research. How do you intend to carry out this research? What do you intend to do? What will that research contain that would end up answering that research question? Do you see how everything is related? That's what I'm saying. It's like storytelling. Even the main research itself is like storytelling. So for research design, or sometimes called methodology, remember it's open to change. Don't fret. You can always change your study design to fit. Okay? So now there are several things you have to talk about when you are describing the research design or the methodology. First is the method you want to use. Is your study going to be a qualitative research? Is it going to be a quantitative research? Is it going to be a mixed method? What's your sampling going to be like? I mean, if what's your sampling going to be like? What type of data do you intend to use? How do you intend to collect this data? So if it's a primary research, then you have to answer this question. If it's a secondary research, that's a dissertation or a thesis, then you also have to answer this question. Maybe, okay, I'm conducting a systematic review. This is my inclusion criteria, my exclusion criteria, and some other things like that. This is my search, my proposed search strategy. This is my proposed analysis. Remember, it's a proposal. So it's a proposal. How do you intend to, what's the easiest way for you to get all this done? How do you intend to propose those things? See, that's the whole essence of being very familiar with your topic, being very detailed and thorough with your literature review, being very detailed with how well read you are, right? Because it's a proposal, and because this is academic writing, like I always say, you learn to ride on the shoulders of giants that have gone ahead of you. I saw this quote on Google Scholar a couple of days ago. Ride on the shoulders of giants. So yes, I believe you should ride on the shoulders of giants that have gone ahead of you. So that means there are studies that have done something similar before. You can always look at their methodology, you can always look at their sample size, their data size, and that would help, that would give you like informed knowledge about how you should go about yours as well. It doesn't mean that you have to do exactly what they've done. And remember, particularly if your one of your justifications is because, or if your justification is because of a methodological issue in a particular study, remember that you can't use that same methodology in yours. Okay, so you have to look for some, you have to do something better, because the main reason why you're carrying out the research is because you said you want to use a better or supposedly better methodology. So you can always projects that have gone ahead, research that have gone ahead can always help inform how you want to go about your analysis. But remember, this is a proposal, so it's open to change. Like I say, you can always amend some things. If you want to do analysis like a qualitative review, and you want to do a thematic analysis, and you see maybe by the time you're done with collation of data and all that, and you now see that okay, I don't think thematic analysis is the best bet now or something. It's always open to change, because there are always, as you go along the way with your research, you can always find out new things. So it's always open to change. You just have to make sure that you address it and you make the right corrections, right? And then at this stage, I always say address all practicalities. This means like have a budget, have a plan, make sure that you carry your supervisors along, and you let them mentor you. You can't do this alone. You need all the help you can get. If you need to get an approval in terms of what's it called now, in terms of ethics, if you need to get approval, seek that approval, get the necessary help that you need. And still talking on practicalities, don't forget there's one crucial aspect when you're done writing all these things, and that's proofreading. I'm still going to emphasize that at the end of this. That's proofreading. You can't, as in, you can't write it alone and just submit it like that. There's nothing as annoying and off-putting to your professors than reading grammatical errors. It can be very upsetting. So, or off-putting. So that's just that on the side. Well, these are the things that has to be in your methodology. And because it's a proposal, see, I keep saying proposal so that you know that it's something that is proposed. It's not definitive. Your tense has to be like future tense now. I will, you intend to, I will not, I have. It's a future tense. You have to make sure that it's something that will be done. Okay? So that's something that you'll be surprised how many people miss out on that, and they write in the present tense because it's a proposal. You're telling us about what you will do, not what you have done. Okay? So please bear that in mind. And then we have references. Like you've told us what you want to do. That's all proposal is. Like I said from the beginning, you just want to tell us how it will be done. Party planner, this is all I intend to do for your party. Pay me my money. Like, so this is how I intend to carry out the proposal. And that's just that about it. And this is how I intend to analyze it. And that's everything you need to tell us. It's not the main research. It is a proposal, but it will definitely have references. And your references have to be 100%. That's why I said you have to have a good knowledge and be very familiar with that topic. So you have to use the right references. I know, I remember. The topic is long overdue. How to conduct references, how to use the right references, how to cite and all that. I will do my best to give you a video on that. Okay. So that said, it has to be on point, it has to be detailed, it has to be the right one, and it has to be the right style. Is it Harvard? Is it APA? Is it MLA? Is it Chicago, Vancouver? Whichever one it is that your school is using, make sure to check it out and make sure, because some schools have modifications to their references. Make sure you implement the modification for your school. It's very important. References in academic writing is not something you joke with. It's a big issue. It's a serious issue. Make sure you do not plagiarize. Paraphrase to the best and the best of your ability. Proofread as much as possible. Follow your school's guideline. And regarding references, I've made a video on how to use Mendeley, which is a referencing software. So you make sure to use Mendeley. Please do not use manual approach. I mean, this is the 21st century. Nobody should still be using manual approaches. I know that a lot of you are still doing it. I know people are still doing manual approach, but we're past that. This is not the time to use manual approach. It is an era for um referencing softwares, it makes life really easy once you're able to learn it. I have a video on how to use Mendeley, and it is pretty much detailed and very explanatory, and I think you would understand it really well and get the best from it. Okay, now that said, um there is another software that I think I'm very fond of, and it's pretty much also free. That's Zotero. I haven't done any video on that yet. I'm still considering it, and if you want me to do a video on that, leave in the comment section. And I know you want a video references, so I will definitely also try my best to release that video as soon as it is done. And if you have any question right now, make sure to leave it in the comment section, or you can always send me an email. My email is in the description box. I say this every time, and I still get messages. Please, can you give me your email? Please, can you give me? It's in the description box. Just check it, okay? It's in the description box. And if you need to book any of our services, the list is in the link to our services that you can access is in the description box as well. So please feel free to email me, and let's see how I can help you out as I choose. Okay, so if you need any of my services, it's in the description box. Let's try and be respectful to each other. I get some nasty, really nasty comments, and sometimes, I mean, it's oh Jesus, I just don't even know how to respond. But then I think it's one of those things. Okay, so that addressed. Let's move on. All right, I still love you guys so much. In conclusion, all I'm trying to say is, you want to carry out a research proposal? Fantastic. You can do this. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. You can do everything. You can do everything. Everything. You just need a plan. You need to have a strategy. You need to have a plan in place. You need to be sure of how you want to go about it. And you need to make use of your mentors. You need to make use of people, your mentors. Let people proofread for you. First eye, second eye, third eye. You can't go wrong with that. I mean, it's to your advantage. And it's always nice for your proposal to be approved the first time. Takes the burden off you. Just makes it easy. But remember, some things are prone to changes. Even when you start carrying out the research, you might start seeing some things, and then you have to make some changes. That's also okay. It's a research, okay? And like I always say, there's no bad research. There's no useless research. So that's about research proposal. That's all you need to know about what a research proposal is. If you need me to show you guys an example of a research proposal and let's analyze it together, I'm willing to do that, but only if you comment in the comment section that this is something you'll be interested in, then I'll go ahead and do that. So thank you so much for watching this video this far. I hope you've liked, I hope you've subscribed, and I hope I will see you again in my next video. You will see me again in my next video, but till then, make sure you put a smile on somebody's face. All right guys, it's been a pleasure having you. Bye.